Admiral Krell of the Galactic Dominion stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at the broadcast screen with what his species considered a smile. His large reptilian frame cast an imposing shadow as he addressed the primitive species that had somehow managed to develop faster than light travel. "People of Earth," he hissed, voice translated through the universal communicator. "Your planet has been deemed suitable for colonization. The Dominion requires your resources and landmass. You have 48 Earth hours to surrender your governments and prepare for assimilation. Resistance is—" "Excuse me," a voice interrupted. The Admiral blinked his 4 eyes in confusion. An older human male with gray hair and a simple blue uniform had stepped forward. His name tag read Tom. "Did you just interrupt me?" Krell asked, genuinely baffled. In 300 years of conquest, no species had ever interrupted the war. Ultimatum. "Yes, sorry about that," Tom said, not looking particularly sorry. "Quick question. Those ships of yours, the ones currently surrounding our planet, what are they made of?" Krell glanced at his second-in-command, who appeared equally confused. "They are constructed of reinforced tritanium alloy, the strongest material in the known galaxy," Krell boasted, recovering quickly. "Impervious to your primitive weapons." "Tritanium," Tom repeated, nodding thoughtfully. He turned to someone off-screen. "Hey, Bill, isn't tritanium highly reactive with oxygen when catalyzed by certain frequencies?" An unseen voice replied, "Yeah, turns to dust, basically. That's 9th grade chemistry." Krell felt a sudden uneasiness. "Your pathetic attempts at psychological warfare will not—" "We're not attempting psychological anything," Tom said, turning back to the screen. "I'm just making sure we understand the situation. So you've surrounded our planet with ships made of material that becomes unstable when exposed to oxygen under specific frequencies, and you're threatening a species that has been experimenting with radio waves for over a century?" For the first time in his military career, Admiral Krell hesitated. "Furthermore," Tom continued casually, "you've positioned your fleet in an orbital formation optimized for planetary bombardment, not defense. That leaves your ventral sections exposed. Not a great tactical choice when dealing with an unknown adversary." The Admiral's second-in-command was frantically checking readings on a nearby console. "Sir," she whispered urgently, "they're broadcasting something across multiple frequencies." "Shut it down," Krell ordered. "Too late," Tom said pleasantly. "Don't worry, we're not destroying your ships, that would be rude. We're just disabling them temporarily." Throughout the Dominion fleet, warning lights began flashing. Systems shut down, engines failed. Slowly, inevitably, the mighty warships began drifting out of formation. "What is happening?" Krell demanded, slamming his fist on the console. "We're demonstrating why it's important to research a species before threatening them," Tom explained. "Humans have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. We prefer the soft approach first. Always." In the viewscreen background, other humans were moving about calmly, some even drinking coffee as if this were a routine day at the office. "How did you," Krell began, "develop technology to neutralize your ships?" "We didn't, actually. Your technology did most of the work for us. We just nudged it along," Tom shrugged. "Humans are particularly good at finding weaknesses and exploiting them. It's kept us alive on a planet where almost everything has tried to kill us at some point." Krell sank into his command chair. "This is impossible. You're a pre-galactic civilization. According to whose standards?" Tom raised an eyebrow. "We've been cautious about revealing ourselves too much. Makes first contact more interesting when we can surprise visitors," the Admiral's communicator chimed. "Reports were coming in from all vessels, systems failing, weapons offline, but life support functioning perfectly. You could have destroyed us," Krell realized. Tom nodded. "We could have, but that's not how we prefer to handle things. Violence is a last resort, not a first option. Now here's what's going to happen. Your ships will regain minimal power in about 6 hours, enough to get you home safely. Before you leave, we'll provide you with a proper introduction to humanity, our cultures and our capabilities. Then, if you're interested, we can discuss peaceful relations between our civilizations." "And if we refuse?" Krell asked. though he already knew the answer. Tom's expression remained pleasant, but his eyes hardened slightly. We've disabled your fleet with essentially a radio signal. Imagine what else we might be capable of. But honestly, we'd rather be friends. Conquering gets messy, and paperwork is the real enemy of any civilization. Several crew members on Krell's bridge actually laughed nervously at this, before quickly composing themselves. Consider your ultimatum declined, Tom concluded. But our invitation to peaceful dialogue stands. We'll send over some cultural information packages while your systems reboot. I recommend starting with our music and cuisine. I suggest Earth's chocolate as a particular highlight. The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Krell staring at a blank screen, surrounded by a powerless armada and a stunned crew. Sir? His second-in-command ventured after a long silence. Orders? Krell sighed deeply. In 3 centuries of military service, he had conquered 47 worlds without losing a single ship. Now his entire fleet had been neutralized by a species that still used combustion engines for planetary travel and thought tritanium was a subject for children's education. Update the Dominion archives, he said finally. Classification of Sol system, approach with extreme caution, and prepare to receive their cultural packages. I want to know everything about these humans. As emergency lighting cast a dim glow across the bridge, one of the junior officers whispered to another, "Did he say chocolate?" 6 months later, the Galactic Dominion established its first-ever embassy of peace on Earth. Admiral Krell, now Ambassador Krell, found himself particularly fond of Earth's chocolate, classical music, and the human concept of underestimation. When asked by his superiors how such a technologically inferior species had managed to disable an entire battle fleet, Krell's report contained just one word. Seriously? The humans, for their part, simply added another entry to their growing list of interstellar friends who had begun as would-be conquerors. Tom was promoted, though he insisted it was unnecessary. After all, as he explained to the president, I just asked questions about their ships. They're the ones who put oxygen-reactive material in space and then bragged about it. It was the most peaceful, almost invasion in human history, but certainly not the last time someone would underestimate the species that had evolved on a death world they affectionately called home.